Hey, what's going on, everyone? I just got back from in my hotel. I was at the Home Run Derby. I was at the Creator Cup earlier today. Crazy day for me, but you know how it goes. We got to get out of the YouTube video. So we got to go through our new program cards, give my initial thoughts, and go through who you should be taking in each one of your choice packs in the program. A lot of cards to talk about. I want to go through it quickly here to save some time, because right now it is 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So, you know, I'm still on the East Coast time schedule, and I'm not used to recording at this time. So let's hop on into it, go through all of our program cards and see what we have in store. First, I want to mention there are a bunch of legend and flashback cards. As per usual, these cards are actually not bad. However, they are not going to be used on many God Squads at this point. They're definitely more of all-time teams, collection fuel. Get those milestone prime cards. Get George Brett. You really have no excuse to not be close to George Brett at this point. That's how easy it is to get done with all 30 of those cards. So get it done, okay? That's the main purpose, collections. But let's go through our program choice packs with the 30 bosses with one all-star card per team. Give my initial thoughts, mainly for someone who is playing on like Hall of Fame, Legend difficulty, trying to make World Series or something. Or if you're playing on All-Star, I'm going to try to give you some advice on who you should be taking in each pack, so you have a good direction of who you should be starting off with. Joe Mantiply here, the D-backs reliever, doesn't look bad. I mean, lefty relievers are always nice. It's just that the pitch mix isn't incredible. Doesn't have much horizontal movement. The best he has is a curveball, which is more of a vertical movement pitch. However, you know, lefty relievers are nice. If you can't find like 2 or 3 that you like, you should give Joe Mantiply a try. At the very least, he's worth a go. He might not be the best though with that pitch mix, but you know, at least he got a sinker. CJ Cron doesn't look bad. It just first base is so stacked. You get better power at first base normally. However, you know, at least he's good versus righties and respectable versus lefties. In CJ Cron cards, if you like this face the franchise, this card is a good card to use. I mean, his cards are pretty underrated usually. Tony Gonsolin here kind of looks like one of the starters that I have a tough time recommending. He doesn't have much velocity. He only has 4 pitches. He doesn't have more than 1 fastball. So pitches like this are kind of easy to hit normally because people just hit fastballs. They sit dead red on it and are only ready to swing at that. The other breaking balls are kind of easy to read. 2 of them are vertical pitches. 1 is a slider. So pitchers like him are usually tough to pitch with, but at least he got good hits per 9. And I could see him being viable, but I don't think this card would really be top tier at all. Manny Machado kind of looks a little underwhelming. At least the hitting attributes are solid contact-wise versus both sides. But 76 power versus right feels a little bit low. Of course, we'll get that a little bit higher than 76. But again, you know, I wish he had a little bit higher power, especially at third base position where power is really good. But at least he's got 125 versus left. Like, that's pretty nice. And he's a good defender if you're like a good defending third baseman. And then last in the NL West, Carlos Rodon. Again, a tougher pitch mix to pitch with. 4 pitches, 1 fastball. But at the very least, you know, he's a lefty. So at least he gets that advantage. Because even though we do have a lefty meta right now, someone like Rodon is still viable if you want a lefty starter. Because there aren't many of them. If I were to take 2 of these players from the NL West pack, I would be choosing Mantiply and then probably Manny Machado, if not CJ Cron. All solid options, but you know, no given card that you need to take in this pack. All of them are pretty viable and worth a try though. Wilson Contreras in the NL Central looks like a really good option to catcher just because he's got really good attributes versus lefties. Good arm strength, he has the catcher pop time perk so he gets up and throws quicker. So if you like a catcher that can throw out runners, Wilson Contreras is a great one. This card actually is a really top catcher option, no doubt about it. Right up on the avenue of Mike Napoli, Mike Piazza. If you don't like those cards, try Wilson out. Even if you like those 2, I think this card is worth a try. The hitting should be really, really solid on him. Luis Castillo actually looks like a solid starter. He's actually got pretty good velocity, good control. Even though he only has 4 pitches on his card, at the very least he has a 4-seam and a sinker. He has a good changeup as a primary. He's got good break and control, so he should be a somewhat respectable starter, even though he only has the 4 pitches. So if you're looking for like a middle of the rotation, back into the rotation starter that maybe people aren't using as much of, Luis Castillo should be a good try. Listen, there are probably a couple names that seem like must-try cards in this program, and Corbin Burns is definitely one of them. Sinker cutter, he's got outlier in the sinker, so he's going to throw it quick. And you know, the hits per 9 is good, even though all the pitches are similar pitch speeds, like he only throws 3 speeds. Corbin Burns cards are always really good. I have a tough time believing this card would be any sort of bad in your rotation. Like, he's definitely worth a try. David Bednar doesn't look like the worst reliever, at least. Like, he's got good velocity in the fastball and slow breaking stuff, but I don't know, man. Just 3 pitches. It's tough to pitch with. I have a tough time recommending pitchers that only have 3 pitches. Pitchers like this are more so of depth bullpen guys, so if you need someone to help on the back end as a replacement, someone with like good hits per 9 to keep up with the current cards in the game, David Bednar should be respectable in that front. However, he's going to be a little bit tough to sequence your pitch with. People will just sit dead red fastball against him and be ready to hit that. And then Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, if you don't like a first baseman you're rocking now, you should get Goldschmidt. Great versus lefties at 125 and 101. You know, 191 is still good versus righties. I do like more power at first. Like 91 and 100 is good, but guys like Frank Thomas are better. But, you know, if you don't like Frank, if you want to mix it up, Goldschmidt is a great one. Great card to use versus lefties. And, you know, he gets some quirks too that boost the attributes up. I actually plan on giving him some reps at first base here. So in terms of the NL Central, if I were to take 2, probably Corbin Burnes and Goldschmidt. You don't need a first baseman to go for someone like Wilson Contreras, a catcher. You know, any of those options are really good depending on what you need. However, Corbin Burnes is great and Wilson Contreras is great if you need a catcher. Goldschmidt's great if you need a first base. Those would be my 3 if I were to choose 3 of them. The NL East is actually, I think, the best pack of the bunch. You have a lot of really good options. So this is one that you may want to consider buying 1 or 2 of the players that get in your team. Guys like Dansby Swanson. There are not many shortstops in this program, and Dansby is a very, very well-rounded card. He doesn't have many quirks, though. Trey Turner last year had really good hitting attributes, but also had a lot of quirks. Dansby has great hitting, but not many quirks. So I think this card can be really, really useful for a while, like Trey Turner was. However, I don't think it'll be as problematic as that card, because quirks and a lot changed on that front, but this is a great shortstop to use. Sandy Alcantara is definitely right up in the Corbin Burnes bunch of like really, really good starters to try. Outlier sinker, primary circle change. He's got the stuff to be a really good pitcher. I don't know how good it'll be with 74 Ks per 9. That could be problematic. Trying to get that outer PCI smaller might give him a bunch of foul balls. But someone like him should still get strikeouts with like inside sinkers to righties, get late swings on that. He should still get strikeouts nonetheless, but the Ks prime being lower is problematic. Give up more foul balls. Edwin Diaz. A lot of people are going to completely give up on this card, but I think this card is someone I'm using in my pen. 115 hits per 9, 125 hits per 9. Ks per 9 is elite, and he's an underrated card usually. I liked his milestone card last year. At the very least, he has 2 fastballs. They're different speeds, and he's got a good slider as a primary. Great velocity and break. He's a good pitcher to pitch for maybe just an inning, and that's it if you want a high velocity get me outs guy late in the game. Some of the other relievers like Mantiply and Bednar, I have a tough time really thinking would be really, really solid. So Edwin Diaz I think would be a great reliever pick. Bryce Harper looks like a great right fielder. I mean, 2 parallels gets him with the gold fielding. He's a great bat versus righties, still respectable versus lefties. A lot of people like Harper's swing, his quirks and all that. He's making him a really good corner outfield option right now. And then Juan Soto, honestly, a little underwhelmed by this card with the 77 contact, but at least the other attributes are good. And he should play above the 77 contact with the quirks he has. However, you don't want to face a lefty with this card, because 77 is a little bit low. If you're playing on Hall of Fame, it's going to be tough. If you're playing on Legend, it's going to be very, very tough to face someone like Randy Johnson to hit him. So in the NL East, if I were to pick 2, I would probably be picking Dansby Swanson and Sandy Alcantara for my team. Again, this all depends on what you need. If you need a corner outfielder, go for Bryce or Soto, depending on who you like more. And if you need some bullpen help, get Edwin Diaz as well. Could be a nice back end of the game reliever for you in that 7th, 8th, 9th inning. But in our AL West, to go through it quickly, Verlander, respectable starter with those attributes in the pitch mix. It's at least usable. He's not going to be Corbin Burnes, Alcantara level, I don't think. He's a solid starter if you need some starting pitching depth. Shohei actually is not the best attribute-wise on the pitching side, but the fact he can hit make this card way better. If he can hit, if he can score like 1, 2, 3 runs for himself while keeping your opponent to not many runs, that's really valuable. Thing is, the hitting attributes he has start to really become useless. Not useless, but tougher to use on like Hall of Fame and Legend, so you might have a tougher time hitting with him there. If you're playing on All-Star and want to get some really fun cards, this is probably one of the most fun cards in the program. Paul Blackburn, I'm not gonna lie, underrated. Sinker, cutter, good pitch mix, respectable middle back end of the rotation starter if you need some extra starters to try other than Sandy or Corbin Burnes. I can picture this card being a smidgen underused from all of the cards. just because it's Paul Blackburn. He's not exciting namesake-wise, but he's at least a good starter. Julio Rodriguez, definitely one of the better cards in this program. Great as a center fielder with diamond fielding at 1 parallel, 99 speed, so he's going to have a lot of range and really good versus lefties. Only downside is vision. So for someone who likes to play on legend, low vision might be problematic. Again, that just depends on how you are and what you prefer with vision. If you want to see more info on that, you should watch my video I made about the swing timing and all that. And then Martin Perez, lefty boy, good control. He's not a bad starter. I think he's going to be a little bit like Paul Blackburn, underrated, but more of a depth option for your rotation. I'll go for one of those two if you're looking for more starting pitcher help. So if I were to pick two from this pack, I would be picking Shohei definitely, and then as my second card, J-Rod. Those two would be the ones I would be picking. And then again, if you need more pitchers, go for one of the pitchers. There's a lot of options, which is nice. The AL Central, I don't know how I feel about this one. You got Andres Jimenez, which isn't a bad card, like good contact. He's good versus righties, which is nice. His lefties with 68 power, a little bit weak. Definitely more of a defensive type middle infield option if you're looking for that. He's going to be a good fielder, good speed, but again, just like a little bit weak versus lefties, which I have a tough time really wanting to use, but you could definitely use him at short or second. He would be very, very solid. Tim Anderson. A little bit weak versus righties, I'm not going to lie. This seems like more of a bench bat versus lefties from what I think. You can use this card versus righties. 67 power isn't terrible, but again, keep in mind, you face righties, you can have a tough time hitting extra base hits and homers. You got to hope you can find singles with this man. But if you don't like Dansby, this should be your shortstop option you go with. He's at least serviceable with that high contact and being good versus left. And then Gregory Soto. Just saying, this is probably the reliever to have in terms of a lefty. Good hits and Ks per 9. He's got outlier on the sinker. He's got a good slider. He's a solid reliever. Doesn't have the best control, but I think this one might be a little bit better than last year's card on the control front. He's going to have really small PCIs against him with the high attributes. Definitely a very good lefty at this point in the game. Andrew Benintendi. Actually good contact versus both sides. I wish he had more than 70-something power. But, you know, it's respectable. And I actually did like Benintendi's face the franchise card. I had more fun with him than I expected, so I picture as being an underrated and underused corner outfielder that, you know, you could definitely get some use on your team if you want to mix up your team and have a fun card. And then Luis Arias. I'm not going to lie, this is the one card I look at that I'm like, what happened here? They gave him 121 vision, 96 discipline, and then 125 clutch. Like, don't get me wrong, the clutch is neat, but it doesn't help much. It's not an attribute that needs to be 125. The things that people really find most helpful are contact, power, fielding, speed, stuff like that. So when you boost all the attributes in those three attributes, this is like a weird 97 overall, because a lot of the other ones hit way better than this card. So if I were to pick two from this AL Central pack, I would definitely be taking Gregory Soto. I would be taking him in a heartbeat, and after that, maybe someone like Andres Jimenez at second or Tim Anderson at short. I have a tough time with the second one. None of these cards are really the best at whatever position they play, other than maybe Gregory Soto. So they're all, you know, depth options if you need them, I would say. And then last, but definitely not least, our AL East. Jorge Lopez has 120 hits per 9, good sinker. If you use his monthly award card, you definitely should try this card. 120 hits per 9 with an outlier sinker is going to be very, very good for a reliever. Thing is, I didn't pitch that well when I used this card, at least it's 91. But this one is way better, so you could definitely get away with using your pen and doing well with him. JD Martinez. I'm actually impressed in the contact. Good contact, good power. This is definitely one of the better hitting cards in the entire program. And 77 fielding could be worse in the corner outfield. This seems like, I would say, the righty Yordan Alvarez. So, like, defense is a problem and something you gotta take note of with cards like this. But his bat is good, so, you know. JD's one of the better righty bats in the game. Definitely a good option if you want him on the bench or in the corner outfield. And here he is, Big Aaron Judge. This is my first time looking at his attributes. I am going to find a way to start him with 78 contact. And it is kind of sad he has a center field primary, because I think he'll be better off in right field. But, you know, now that he plays center field all the time, it's now his primary. But, you know what you're going to get with Aaron Judge cards. Great power versus both sides. The contact versus right is good. At least he kind of benefits from the good old starting meta, where we're starting to get guys like Alcantara and Corbin Burns, who will be more popular righties. So Judge would actually be a very, very solid righty to use versus those righties. So I'm going to start in my God squad. I don't care if his contact versus lefties. Like, he's definitely viable. Shane McClanahan has 4 basic pitch mixes, 104 hits per 9. This looks like a solid starter, but he gives me a lot of Carlos Rodon vibes. At least he has a little bit more velo, I think. I don't even know at this point. I mean, good starter. Will I be using him? Probably not. And then Alejandro Kirk. Definitely one of the better catcher options. I know some people are disappointed in his speed and maybe lack of contact versus left, but this is a good Kirk card. I'm getting the vibe that we're going to get some better one later on in the year, thus why he has his attributes like this. But definitely, if you don't want to try Wilson Contreras, Kirk is a good catcher. And there we go. To go through that AL East pack, I'm going to choose Judge and probably Jorge Lopez. And I think they're probably the more viable picks. Anyway, you probably want to play Judge in right field, then get a few parallels on him to get back to diamond defense. But the thing I want to talk about this program, just very quickly, all these cards seem good. They're good, respectable cards. This is being recorded right as the Home Run Derby cards are dropping, so I'm going to see what those cards look like. So yeah, make sure you guys are subbed to the channel down below. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to get a tier list Tuesday out with all of our All-Star Game content, or at least as much of it as possible. So if you guys are down for a late night upload, make sure you are subbed. At first, I was genuinely thinking of doing a tier list Tuesday with just all 30 of these cards. But now that I think about it, I think what'll end up happening is I'll end up coming back home to my apartment and I'll quickly record a video like this for all 30 of the All-Star Game cards and include our Home Run Derby cards in it too, and whatever All-Star Game cards we get then. So yeah, I appreciate you all watching this video. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed, and I'm super excited to cover all these cards and give these cards a go this week. A lot of videos will be coming out this week on these cards, all the content, and I'm planning on getting Jackie Robinson as soon as we possibly can. So I appreciate you all watching this, and I will see you all again on next one. Deuces.